pled guilty in federal court to their crimes. There have been, since that time, there have been a series of articles by Mississippi Today and New York Times chronicling the actions of the incidents at the Rankin County Sheriff's Department. Just, would you say, Lindsey, like incidents involving the Rankin County, not just at the jail, but at other things too, I think.
Yeah. I mean, there's just incident after incident after incident, it seems. And I just don't believe that there can be this many and people not have known what was going on.
And so I forget how many articles they've written, but one it was about, there was Sheriff Bailey has some chicken farms out in Puckett, which were kind of close to where I used to live in Puckett. Well, everything's close in Puckett, I guess. And he was using some trustees, allegedly using trustee labor out there.
Which that didn't really bother me all that much, to be honest.
That was the only one that didn't, right? Then I guess, then Christian Debman, who was one of the deputies that pled guilty in the Goon Squad fiasco, confessed to that part, and then he told the stories about they were stealing gravel to use.
That's what I'm about to say. If he was using taxpayer dollars to, to fund the gravel and the equipment, now that I have a problem with.
So we've had all these series of articles about this stuff, and now this morning, one dropped that I think is kind of the, I don't know if we'd use the term coup de grace, and the reason is, because the
what does that mean?
It just means the killer, the nail in the coffin kind of thing.
I don't know. I mean, shooting somebody in the mouth and using a sex toy on them, that one was rough.
Well, and here's why I'm saying that, because this has got, these are all stuff that, witness accounts, stuff that's written in articles. There's an actual video. Now it's in the Mississippi Today. It was just the New York Times, but the video is linked to the Mississippi Today article. You can, if you go to Mississippi Today right now, you can look at this video, or you can go to my Facebook page, you go to Lindsey's Facebook page, the video's up. All you got to do is watch it. And if you watch this thing, it sums up the entire thing over the last 2.5 years in my mind. I don't think you need to see anything more in this video. And what the video depicts is a man named Larry Buckhalter, who was a inmate at the Rankin County Detention Center. And he has on a stun vest that two jailers, I guess I'll call them, have him there.
One's a female.
One's a female, yeah. And they tell him, you're going to use a stun vest. He's doing this in exchange for a Coca-Cola, right, Lindsey? That's
yes.
Right. And it is pretty graphic and pretty horrible to watch. And I think that sums up really the last 2.5 years of the culture out there that has been alleged. Well, this time to me, it's like you've got obviously the Goon Squad. That part is real because they pled guilty. They've admitted to all that. Now the sheriff, of course, has denied knowing about any of this stuff.
Yeah, okay.
But then now you go, yes, I know, right?
Yeah, so this video shows him
I'm sorry I'm laughing, y'all, but I mean, the way Lindsey said that, I'm like, well, I mean, okay, none of us believe that. Let's be honest.
He had to
Nobody
know.
believes that. Right,
he had to know.
Yeah.
I mean, if you ever see Brian Bailey anywhere, he didn't get in a hurry for anything. He's just nonchalant, not a care in the world. This big old dip in his mouth that's kind of halfway oozing out most of the time.
Yeah.
And, he had to know. There's just no way. But this man, he's sitting in this chair. He's strapped in the stun vest. And off camera, we hear people joking that he's going to bite his tongue off.
Right. Right.
And, then they tell him, okay, you need to say on video that you're giving us your consent. And he says, yes, I volunteer to do this. And then he starts to go into convulsions when they initiate the stun. He's screaming out in pain. And I don't know, what would you say? It was like 10 seconds maybe that they used this vest on him, stunning him. And then it's like they're congratulating him. Now you get a Coke. It's all over. I'm so proud of you. That's what they said to him.
I know. Reminding me of like a kindergarten classroom or something, where they're like, okay, now everybody gets the Christmas cookies.
You did so good at the doctor's appointment, you get a sucker.
I mean, that's the other thing. That's the other thing. Like, we're all adults and professionals here. Like, do we need to act like this? Even, I mean, I know as bad it is, but like that, does that thought cross your mind to like, I need to do this? I need to humiliate this guy because I mean, why would you?
It's got to be bad. It's got to be really, really bad when Shaun Tyndall, of all people, will say that it was appalling and utterly unacceptable, because we know how appalling and unacceptable he is. And if he's going to say that, it's got to be bad.
And that leads me to my next thing about what possible crime stuff, there, could arise out of this. I think there's a lot, Lindsey. I think there's a lot of crimes that, you brought up Shaun Tyndall, and they said MBI is going to investigate this now. And that's the way a lot of these investigations will happen. You need something like this video to shock the conscience of the community to saying, hey, okay, now or getting sick of this. Now we've seen actual video evidence of something like this happening. You guys have got to get out there and start investigating. And I think there's not only are there, now, of course, we've seen the deputies prosecuting in federal court. And there's also state crimes here. I think you talk about a guy that gets his jaw broken. That's an aggravated assault. Yeah, I think there's a state crime. It's got no statute of limitations. You can indict somebody for that. There's plenty of state crimes. The Attorney General's office could get involved in this right now, today. They can get involved in this, and they should. The federal, the U.S. Attorney's office, obviously the FBI. I'm sure they're already involved. I'm sure they're down that. They've been in that mess. I'm sure they're looking at this whole stuff. But they need to start looking at things like, obviously, civil rights violations, excessive force, Eighth Amendment problems, those kinds of things. So there's a lot of things. There's conspiracy charges here too, I think, possibly, if you can find the evidence. I mean, there's a lot of stuff legally to come out of this.
What's the conspiracy?
Well, I think if the two or more people conspire to injure somebody, humiliate somebody.
Well, I mean, obviously they were doing that.
Conspiracy. Two more people agree to do something illegal, so that's a conspiracy. So any of this stuff.
Well, then everything's a conspiracy,
right? Exactly. So there. That's there. You got conspiracy. There's simple assault charges. That's a misdemeanor. Obviously, that's a state level crime. There's a lot of things that can be done. I think at this point, especially now, if MBI is going to start looking at it from a state perspective, which I think will be interesting, because the only state prosecution that happened was Lynn Finch's office tacked off the feds. That's all they did. They kind of tacked off what the feds and kind of just pled them, or were pleading you guilty to, state crimes based upon what the federal government had done. But here you can go in as the state first and say, hey, let's start investigating these cases. Just simple things like simple assault. That's just a
maybe
misdemeanor.
They should have already been
Aggravated
investigating more things in Rankin County after the Goon Squad. Why is it Jerry Mitchell's job to uncover all of this? Why is law enforcement in Rankin County, or Sean Tyndall, or whoever, not doing this investigation already? Why is it taking Jerry Mitchell to bring this to the forefront?
Well, I would say look at Jerry's history. He's brought a lot of things to the forefront, hasn't he?
What I'm saying is they know that there's obviously been problems.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
Why are they not doing more to make sure that justice is served wherever there was an injustice?
That's a great question. I don't know.
Because it's Sean Tyndall and he sucks.
No, I don't think that has anything to do with it. I'm just
going to blame him because I want to.
Yeah, but I'm being serious. I think it's a good question. I don't know why the state government has not got involved in it enough. That's something to ask the Attorney General. That would be her responsibility on this. Why they haven't, because there's a lot of state crimes. Because she's the one who would be responsible to do that. The district attorney's office in Rankin County, I think, has a clear conflict in my mind. They can't do it.
I agree.
I don't think that you could put that on Bubba Bramlett at all.
And I think Bubba Bramlett's amazing.
He's a great guy, and I think he's an honorable guy, and he would do it but I think he has a clear conflict and he can't do it. I think this is why you have an attorney general's office. It's because they are supposed to do things like this. So I think that would be, step one, look at the state crimes. Then obviously step two, feds have already investigated the Goon Squad. They need to come back in. I'm sure they're looking at some things. The FBI is always lurking around on something. So I think that they need to get, back into this. And especially in this, again, this video, like I keep bringing it up, those are things that make the public tell you, hey, you're going to have to get back involved. So I think you're going to see a reignition, is that the right way of putting this, of this investigation based upon just that. Well, I really do think that's going to, because just the responses I've got today, like I said earlier, from former law enforcement, current, it shocked everybody's conscience. It really has, the way that came across to people, that it could be that lawless at that sheriff's department for that to happen.
Yeah.
So that's what I think. But we're going to follow all this up and more on the next segment of the Lindsey Beckham Show. Stay tuned and don't put on a stun vest. We'll be back next segment. Back on the Lindsey Beckham Show, discussing the shocking new allegations in the articles in Mississippi Today and the New York Times regarding the Rankin County Detention Center and the Rankin County Sheriff's Department, all tacking off the infamous now Goon Squad stories of 2023. We've been going in through a shocking video. You keep using the word shocking all the time. A shocking video that happened out there where a man named Larry Burkhalter.
It was shocking, all right.
Yeah, he was definitely shocked. Larry Buckhalter was shocked in exchange for a Coca-Cola. I'm not lying. That's what they said here.
Well, there's more than just that too, though.
Yeah, and I'm just going to go through, but you go ahead.
Well, Christopher Mack, who was a former inmate, he sued the department last year, claiming that he was beat by trustees and guards in 21. When he made bail, left the jail with 2 black eyes. And he says that the next day, Sheriff Bailey approached him and asked who had caused his injuries. He said that he looked at the sheriff and said, "Mr. Bailey, you know who did this to me. Your officers and trustees did this to me." He said the sheriff cursed under his breath and stormed off. And there's a picture of him in the article with his black eyes. And I mean, he's clearly been beaten.
Oh, I didn't see that. Is that right after it? Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jeez. Dang.
Yeah.
Well, some of the there's some points actually to hit from there. So, like it says, guards and senior inmates, especially blue suits, allegedly contributed to
Which are the trustees that have been there the longest.
Yeah, the ones with the best privileges, I guess you would say.
Yeah.
And another thing about it was, so there's some high-ranking correctional staff, which is current undersheriff, I believe Barry Vaughn, I think he's the current undersheriff, allegedly participated directly in beatings or sanctioned them using a baseball bat or an antenna to beat inmates, a baseball bat or an antenna to beat inmates. And that was, it says here, Undersheriff Barry
It's amazing
Vaughn.
no one's died.
That's,
I
mean, I guess you got to be inventive to pull the antenna out, right?
It's kind of like the Nutcracker. I mean, well, when y'all said Nutcracker the first time, when you and Clay,
I was thinking the Christmas Nutcracker too. I wasn't thinking,
like I still have to remind myself it was like an actual
I do too.
Device that cracked nuts and not a Christmas nutcracker.
I think because we're like not old enough to have actually owned a nutcracker. Like my dad always had one when I was a kid, but I've never like owned a nutcracker.
Nutcracker to me has always been Christmas.
It's been a Christmas. I was thinking, I was like, Denman glued a Christmas nutcracker to the guy's balls. Like it's crazy.
Nutcracker to the nuts.
Your legs or whatever it was. Like it's nuts. Now, so there's been several lawsuits, 11 since 2013 by inmates alleging assault by guards and trustees. Most were dismissed on technicalities though. Some trustees, though, speak positively about the program. And I've heard that personally, and all, being fair, in all fairness, I've heard a lot of good things about the trustee program out there. So it's not all been bad.
Well, I mean, some of these people that got special privileges, do you really think they're going to rat anybody out when,
No, I mean, they're playing video game in the article. This is the article, not me. They're playing video games and watching TVs, I mean, they're in a good
There's
mood.
69 documented incidents since 2012, I think they reference,
right.
And that, I guess, of physical violence or, incidents that seem to be something fishy going on.
Right. Yeah. I mean, so there's, and all jails get reports of stuff for sure. Right. It's just, I think, Lindsey, the culmination of everything that we've found out in almost 3 years at this point. That just,
right. And they actually had this article. They had 4 former guards, who also spoke about what they witnessed in the unjustified beatings of other guards and trustees. 3 of them wanted to remain anonymous. Can't blame them.
And that's the one thing I was telling Jerry earlier about. I think the article is good because you don't only just have inmates saying this, because a lot of times inmates will say anything. I mean, that's true. There's a lot of times they will. I've seen it, firsthand. But you've got former guards there saying it. I mean, you've got everybody saying it. It's not just inmates. So people just think it's just angry inmates because they're in jail and they're pissed off. That's not true. And again, and I'm gonna go back. I've said this 18,000 times this episode. We got the evidence is on video. I mean, it's on a video that someone thought was, well, I actually think 2 things. I mean, first of all, when the guy was video or whoever was videoing it, they thought, I guess, it would be fun to video this because that's like,
Stupid.
But then they obviously saved it and kept it as an insurance policy for something. I mean, it's clear they
or
did
either
that.
they just get their rocks off on hurting people. It's just strange.
No, I'm just
to me.
saying, what I'm saying is the person, whoever took that video or whoever became in possession of the video after that, somebody kept that as an insurance policy. Because how did the New York Times?
But why did they want it recorded in the first place?
Well, yeah, because right. I agree. That's well, maybe they wanted it as a future insurance policy against whatever, but then they used it. This person did use it because it ended up in the hands of the New York Times. I mean, somehow they got this video that was taken in the Rankin County Detention Center that I'm sure nobody in there would ever have wanted the public to see. So yeah, somebody was either at the time they thought it was they're trying to get the rocks off, but they later kept it for insurance purposes, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, I look, I don't even know what to say. I just think it's disgusting. I think there's got to be something wrong with you mentally if this is what you want to do for fun, is terrorize people and hurt people. And it's just, it's inhumane.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the only way you can characterize it, right? It is. I mean, they're doing it. I mean, it's what we've all, I guess what we've all been talking about the last few years. I mean, it's just that there's obviously been a culture created there that this sort of stuff was acceptable, and it allowed for the evolution of the goon squad into those incidents that they did, and to this, and to what we're seeing here. I mean, and I just don't know that, like, it's hard to refute, Lindsey, that all this stuff saying it didn't happen when not only do you have the guys that pled guilty, but then you full circle, you come to this video and you're like, okay, look, I mean, it's all there on a silver platter that this
You
stuff
can't
was going.
deny. I mean, it's not AI.
Yeah, right. It's not an AI of this man. And it's so it's I mean, it's just undeniable that the stuff that's going on there is absolutely unacceptable and unlawful.
If I
And
was
I
this
think that's
man's family, I would be absolutely furious, and I wouldn't stop until I had somebody's head on a swivel.
So, I mean, what do you think are the next steps here?
I think there's probably going to be a lot more indictments, I would think. I think there's going to be some other people who go to jail. I think Brian Bailey's eventually going to go to jail.
I think logically, like I was saying in the last segment, there's going to be another investigation. I don't think that the public's going to accept that they're not going to look into this now.
If you know
And
about something and don't do anything, is that not considered like accessory after the fact?
I mean, it depends. If you help cover it up, it could be there's a felony called misprision of a felony. But if you just like knew a crime,
Well, if you're the sheriff and you know this is going on,
well, I guess
you're not stopping it.
I would think, yeah. I mean, I would think it depends. All right, the extent. Yes, yeah. There's the extent of his involvement, right? We see, is he an accessory before the fact? Is it a conspiracy situation? There's a lot of things that it could be in that scenario. And then is there any type of cover up? Which is a good point. I think you just. Like an obstruction charge is what I would say.
I didn't know anything about it.
But I mean, if we go back, Lindsey, and forget about just the goon squad for a moment. Remember the whole thing with Fred Shanks' wife and the grand jury subpoenas?
Yeah, and
I mean,
he's got a mistress who's married, and he's subpoenaing her phone records and the guy that she's cheating on him and her husband with, I guess. I mean, it's outrageous.
And using the grand jury to do it.
Completely unconstitutional.
Having someone that's worked closely with the grand juries for a long time, like, that's insane. I mean, like, that you would do that. And so, like, there's all the evidence. And then, of course, it went, Michael Guest transfers that to Jim Hood's office. Jim Hood's office doesn't do anything with it. But they all agree that it happened. That it happened. The fact that it even happened, that you would use a grand jury subpoena as an investigative tool on your girlfriend and the guy she's messing around with is, I mean, what more do you need for that to tell you what kind of culture has been created that you could do something like that? I mean, Tyree Jones and I are friends. I think I joked with him one time, I'm like, dude, if you ever did that, I would be friends. I mean, I'm like, it's just unbelievable.
I mean, Tyree could probably hurt somebody a lot more than Brian Bailey.
Yeah, right. But I mean, it just, that's even an acceptable thing. And that happened like 10 years ago. I remember like more than 10 years ago.
This was going on for a long time. That's scary that there's such a good old boy system over there that this kind of crap is able to go on for this long before it's uncovered and called out.
Well, and then
the only reason it happened is because they accidentally shot that guy. Yeah, that's the only reason.
Yeah, that's the only reason that it ever came out. I mean, and even then, I'm surprised they didn't get away with it. I thought that somehow that they would be able to cover that up.
I think people were mortified.
No, I'm just saying at the time, I guess they couldn't come up with enough of a scenario where that was going to work. But but then just a few months ago, we were talking about Jerry was at the, what do you call it? I call it the prayer breakfast. You said it's not a prayer breakfast. What is it?
It's at Cypress Point. It's the Republican meeting.
Whatever you Republicans
do. The first Saturday of every month in Rankin County at Cypress Point. Yeah. And they usually have a speaker, which actually they're doing new meetings now. And I think a lot of people have quit going to that one just because Brian Bailey and his half full mouth of dip is always walking around and people don't want to be around him. That's what I've heard through the grapevine.
Okay. Well, that's the one where Steve Gaines was like, we kicked their butt or something to that effect, right? I'm paraphrasing.
And we don't let anybody from across the river come over here. I mean, come on.
Yeah, I mean, but he was talking about the Goon Squad civil settlement at first, and Jerry just happened to be there. And Jerry, what were you doing at the Republican breakfast? By the way,
he was there to hear. He was there to hear what Steve Gaines had to say about that situation. He knew that would come up because they had just made that deal. So I'm sure that's why he went.
So, I mean, even you got a Rankin County elected official thinking like, "Hey, we beat this whole thing." Like, really? Instead of have some humility about the situation, it's completely embarrassed the county. Not only did it embarrass the county, it's embarrassed the entire state that was supposed to move so far forward after all this like racial stuff, and you made us look like it's 1960 again. I
And
mean,
yet
that's what you did. Thanks.
they're one of the main areas against school choice. The
Mm.
same race stuff comes into play in
Yeah.
this area constantly.
That's true. I mean, and when you think so, like that kind of thing just sets the whole state back. And yeah, and I do want to say this: that, I mean, there's so many good elected officials in Rankin County. They're doing great jobs that are honorable people, and they get screwed by this because it makes it like, oh, all of y'all corrupt. We heard about Rankin County, and that's what happens.
Somebody commented on the post that you made about
Mm.
what we were doing the show on today
Mhm.
and said, it's just a crying shame. This makes my job so much harder.
There's so
And
many.
that my heart bleeds for those people.
Yeah, I know a lot of them. They do great jobs over there. Good people, man. I went to high school in Rankin County. I mean, like there's a ton of good people there, but it's this kind of crap that just. But you know what? That's why you have law enforcement and investigative authorities, and hopefully something will be done. And